Hey guys, Pete here. Today's Game of Thrones Season 8 video will be my quick reaction recap for Episode 6, titled The Iron Throne. I have to say that I got what I wanted here, which was to find out how the characters' stories would end, and I'll save you some time if you're looking for a negative review because I can't provide it. I found this episode to be so freaking satisfying and enjoyable, and it far exceeded my expectations. King Bran the Broken, cripples, bastards, and broken things, and a time for wolves. Damn. I hated so many of these ideas as possible endings when I heard them, and in spite of having those feelings headed in, I can see how they all make sense in relation to the ending of George R.R. Martin's series A Song of Ice and Fire. Game of Thrones, the TV series, may be over, and I can't wait to read how this all works out on the pages of the final books. Sure, we'll get there in different ways, but the emotional impact of the last 2 episodes of Season 8 really speaks to the powerful story that the source material is trying to tell. So let's look at my favorite moments. You can tell me yours in the comments, and let's celebrate this giant cultural phenomenon that we all shared together. First up is Tyrion's discovering Jaime's golden hand. Even though Tyrion couldn't have high hopes for anyone getting out of King's Landing's destruction alive, it's still heart-wrenching when we see him discover the bodies of his twin siblings. Seeing Jaime and Cersei lying together in their eternal sleep at the bottom of a pile of rubble is a difficult moment. Peter Dinklage does a great job as Tyrion, and I thought of so many character moments between the Lannister siblings and all the other characters of Westeros over the years in this moment. Both of these characters, and seeing them laying next to each other here, there was a sort of finality to it that hit me harder than I would have expected. Next is Daenerys arriving to address her armies at the ruins of the Red Keep. We see this amazing looking shot of Drogon's wings behind her as she approaches and realize that she has fulfilled her destiny, but it is going to end up being a hollow affair. I love Jon's reaction, Emilia Clarke's portrayal of the perceived Targaryen restoration, and then Tyrion's decision to throw down his Hand of the Kingpin in protest. This leads us to the next moment, which was Jon and Tyrion having their conversation in the cell. While Tyrion drives the conversation, this really sets the stage for Jon to cycle through his conflicting options to decide to do what we all know he needs to do. There is so much packed in this short conversation. He asks Jon if there's life after death, which points us to him being brought back for a reason. And then Tyrion explains the tragedy of the Daenerys situation. He says, when she murdered the slavers of Astapor, I'm sure no one but the slavers complained. After all, they were evil men. When she crucified hundreds of Myronese nobles, who could argue? They were evil men. The Dothraki khals she burned alive, they would have done worse to her. Everywhere she goes, evil men die, and we cheer for it. Kit Harington does a great job as we watch Jon realize the inevitable. And as fans, we can feel the third shocking twist we've all wondered about for so long is coming soon, and it feels terrible. After that, we get Daenerys' time in the throne room, which I'm sure will be the most divisive part of the series. Since I feel this will be the most contested part of the end of the story until the books are finally published, and out of respect for Daenerys' fans that are still processing her turn, I'll opt not to gush about this scene. There is a lot to like about it, but I will say that when Drogon's nudging her body, that I felt more emotion than I would have thought possible in a scene that involves a magical creature before I started watching Game of Thrones so many years ago. I also found it amazingly satisfying to watch him reduce the throne to a puddle of liquid metal. I really loved how both characters displayed their internal conflicts, and think Kit Harington did a wonderful job showing us the real struggle between love and duty. My next big moment was the naming of Bran the Broken as king. There are so many moments packed in this sequence. Sam suggesting that perhaps elections by the people are the best course of action, and the lords in attendance laughing at him feels perfect. It's almost like George R.R. Martin is referencing us all trying to figure out how Westeros would be ruled when there was no more Iron Throne. For what it's worth, I hated the idea of Bran becoming king when I started seeing it pop up in the comments of my videos. Bran has been my favorite character, and all my ideas about his role in the story were related to the magic in Westeros, and had nothing to do with him becoming a king. But as Tyrion said, "All hail Bran the Broken, first of his name, king of the Andals and the first men, lord of the 6 kingdoms and protector of the realm." To my surprise, it worked. It just actually works despite my expectations for the character. As it clicked, I realized that this will 100% be the ending that George R.R. Martin had in mind, and I'm still a little bit blown away by the revelation. Crippled bastards and broken things. You got me. And I gotta say, for all the awkwardness in the portrayal of the character, Bran saying, "Why do you think I came all this way?" completely nailed it for me. Like, he knew, and it was priceless. Jon's goodbyes in King's Landing were the next big moment for me. While I wasn't rooting for him to rejoin the Night's Watch, it is rather fitting based on where things ended up. His goodbyes with Arya and Sansa were emotional for me, especially when he asked Arya about Needle. A tear may have crept down my cheek at that point. I loved that Jon didn't actually forgive Sansa with words, but their hugs showed importance of family and how Ned Stark shaped their lives. Bran dressed as king was surprisingly awesome to witness, and I really dug watching Jon bend the knee to him in his wheelchair. Arya confirms that she will travel to explore what's west of Westeros, and I love that she has truly walked away from her life that's been surrounded by death. The next big moment was Brienne in the White Book. While this is something that might fall under the category of fan service, it's easy for me to get behind it. Watching her write the words and knowing what it means to both characters really brings up the feelings of the story we've been involved with for so long in such a fitting way. I always hoped this would happen, and it lived up to my expectations and then some. Sir Brienne of Tarth, you kept your oath. Your service to the realm is unparalleled. After that, we get a look at King Bran the Broken's small council. Sam delivers Maester Abros's new A Song of Ice and Fire to start things off, and he's sure to tell us that he helped Abros with the title. We get an idea of how things will move forward in Bran's Westeros. We learn that Podrick is now a knight, and that there are still a few positions that need to be filled, including Master of Whispers, Master of Laws, and a Master of War. There have been no sightings of Drogon after he flew east with Daenerys' body, but Bran will try to find him. Bronn is the Master of Coin, Davos is the Master of Ships, Sam is the Grand Maester, and Brienne appears to be the captain of the Kingsguard. They end this scene arguing about brothels, and that sets Tyrion up to leave us hanging one more time with his "I once brought a jackass and a honeycomb into a brothel" joke. Finally, we see Jon arrive at Castle Black where Tormund is waiting for him. His arrival sparks what I've been referring to as the Time for Wolves sequence, where we see the Stark siblings embarking on their new lives. Of course, that was the original title of the final book, but Martin changed it based on it probably being a little bit spoilery considering what it says. This sequence broke me as a fan. I was just awed at the range of emotions I experienced while I watched. The lost look on Jon's face that fades as he moves amongst the wildlings and then turns to a smile as he acknowledges Ghost. The earned look of beauty and reverence that beams from Sansa. And the look of wonder and hope on the face of Arya, who has come full circle and had her humanity restored. Jon giving Ghost that proper petting, the wolf's head prowl of Arya's ship as we get a call back to her as a girl heading to Braavos under very different circumstances, and then Sansa with her direwolf crown. I mean, come on, you have to be pretty jaded to not enjoy that these are the last shots of the story. And then it ends as it began. We see characters ranging beyond the wall. Everyone is changed irreparably by their journeys, but things have also been changed by their existence. Is the world fixed and safe for all eternity? Nope, but there is hope, and the seeds have been planted for everyone's dream of spring. Was it perfect? Of course not. Are there real problems with the way we got here? Absolutely. Is there more to say? Without a doubt, but not today. Today is the time to celebrate the story and these wonderful characters that George R.R. Martin brought to life. The show Game of Thrones that brought so many of us to those characters that might have never known about them, in all the different ways the whole thing changed our lives. I, for one, feel grateful for what I just experienced and fear that nothing will ever come along to take its place. I want to thank every one of you for sharing this experience with me. I see my subscribers who always show up early and drop comments on these videos, and it always brightens my day. I hope you all got what you wanted out of the Game of Thrones series finale, and if you didn't, I hope you got what you needed. Thanks for everything, guys. I mean it sincerely. Thanks. I will talk to you soon.